I think an unseen enemy of a man that is not very commonly talked about would be stagnation. And I think that the general definition, the general way that the population defines stagnation would just be the term laziness, be lazy. But I want to attack stagnation from a different perspective today. And so, as I was reflecting, because I couldn't sleep, I was thinking about what stagnation is to me personally and why I'm so afraid of it. And the definition that I came up with was stagnate, and this is from my notes that I read my notes back to you guys, and that's all I do is just read my notes and reflect and see what sticks. But anyways, back to the subject. Stagnation is the delaying of essential expression. The delaying of essential expression. And so I think that's why it hurts so deeply for us as humans, because humans were meant to create. I like this term that says man was created, therefore man creates. Like, it's kind of as simple as that. And we see creation throughout many ways of our life. Obviously, we see creation. There was something created before humans got here, like the world, obviously, the stars, nature, the birds, the animals of the sea, and all that. And then we can see creation in other ways. We see creation with creativity, how humans were able to bring forth music from nothing, essentially. And now we have all forms of art throughout music, creativity through art, physical canvases. I think we see creativity, creation, even with life, biological life. How that's done, that's creative. But that's how man expresses, and we're gonna get to that. We're gonna use that term expression a lot, because I think that's what also encompasses men and women, is that we need to create, but we also need to express our creation. So humans are meant to create and explore and express. Suppression of those traits that are innate to us create a disconnection from ourselves. And I think, and this draws into identity suppression, which I'm going to get into later in this video as well. But a person can be productive and still kind of feel that they're stagnant in life. This is something that I feel, and this is why I haven't been posting like consistently. I don't like posting all the time, like back to back every single day. But like, I had a kind of like creator's block, because I wasn't fulfilling like other needs in my life in terms of expressing myself. And that was like holding me back, keeping me stuck, from like moving forward. I was still able to like go through my life like mundane, but I felt like there was something missing. And so a person can be productive and still remain stagnant, because if they're doing something that doesn't feel personally meaningful to them, they're not going to feel like they're accomplishing anything. They're not going to feel like they're doing something meaningful in their life. And what's big, this word is big, is purpose. It's that we all need to have a sense of direction. We all need to have a sense of that we are here, we are working towards something, for something, for a higher purpose. Like, that's what that's like one of the basic like psychological needs of a human being, and I wish I knew off the top of my head that I actually discussed this in a course, but I'll bring it up in a later video and I can remember the term. And so this made me like kind of ponder about what stagnation is on a deeper level. Maybe stagnation is what becomes of us when our inner world is unable to be expressed, when our inner world essentially has nowhere to go. That's what stagnation is, on an even deeper layer than what we started off from. I think the base layer, starting off from just stagnation, laziness, that's a good first tier for it. Then we get into stagnation being the delaying of expression, essential expression, and then into stagnation being what becomes of us when our inner world has nowhere to go, when our inner world has no form of expression. And so All this is that is kind of the inner turmoil way of looking at stagnation. But obviously, there's a broad amount of factors that could be enforcing this feeling that we as men might be struggling with. Um, and one of these things is a big freaking issue that is not talked about enough, but we all know that it's happening. We all are aware that we're experiencing it. Is how the modern life today is so hyper focused on consumerism. Like, oh my goodness. And we as Americans, we like look at how calm and peaceful this is. Like, this is not the case for a lot of the world. And there are places in the world that are like super peaceful and, more peaceful than America. But I'm talking about in terms of people, a lot of people do not have even the luxury of living middle class, like a middle class American, And that's all I am today, if that. But modern life encourages mass consumption. I have this thing that I always like to say whenever I buy stuff. When I was living with my roommates up on campus, or at college, excuse me. I would get a package. They're like, "Oh, you got another package?" And I'd be like, "I buy, therefore I am." But modern society encourages mass consumption, and this is done through things like doom scrolling, fear of judgment when you post, which is something that I also go through. Let's see what else. Comparison, feeling like you are missing out, FOMO. And modern society makes consuming far more convenient than creating. And so I think that is one of the plays on this whole game that we have, is that they don't want us to create. They don't want us to create or innovate anymore, because if we're doing that, then we're creating power and leverage for ourselves. But I don't know. That's just a freaking theory. Anyways, creation requires vulnerability, effort, imperfection, and patience. Consumption requires almost nothing aside from your own time and attention. And that's what I've realized while I'm making this video, which is why I'm making this video in the first place, is because this is how I personally create. When I don't express and when I don't do this, I don't feel complete. I literally do not feel like I'm walking in my lane and my personal niche for myself. And the issue is that we're overstimulated and yet we're still underexpressed. And so we're having suppressions of identity. And this is where I noticed it for myself that, oh my goodness, like something is off, was when I stopped playing football. Like after I stopped playing football, it gave me structure. Like it gave me a brotherhood, it gave me discipline, bonds, purpose. It drove me towards a meaning I wanted to achieve, because I wanted some form of external validation, that I was getting from the field. And so without that, it brought a lot of doubt. It brought uncertainty. It brought invisibility. Like I left a smaller school where I was kind of not the center of attention by any means, but like I was a player, so I had some attention, right, from coaches and the school and players, teammates, whatever. And then I transferred and I went to a Division I school, so I felt invisible, because I realized, like, damn, like in the grand scheme of things, like I'm just a person, like I don't matter, you know what I mean? But that was good. That was a good, humbling teaching moment. But it also brought no direction, and this becomes universal with parents. Like it becomes universal with a graduate, with post-grad, athletes, of course, veterans, all those. Like people can understand that, like us, when they have a suppression of identity, when life just kind of throws them a curveball. Life just kind of throws you a curveball, and you're kind of forced to grow, or you get left behind, essentially, and that's scary. And that's the whole point of what stagnation is it's getting left behind. That's what we all fear. We don't want to get left behind. A, we don't want to get left behind by other people, and B, we don't want to feel like there was some kind of untapped potential within us that we never looked into. There was something innate in us that we never tried to even give a chance. And, we just kept burying it down, because either we felt like we couldn't achieve it. We had some sort of imposter syndrome, or other people told us that we couldn't, and so we began to wear it. When the identity that people build around themselves disappear, this is where people begin to feel empty. And I don't really like using the word empty, more so just directionless, lost. When the identity that you have built around yourself over the course of all these years begins to crumble and fade, and you have to switch, that's my sister, people become empty and lost. So that's what I was alluding to previously, was that there was like a silence, like for me. I had a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of uncertainty after my life had transitioned from sports, which I was playing since I was 4, to just school, purely school. And I started to realize, like, dang, like, yeah, I accomplished something remarkable actually within myself, which was growing my developing a physique. You know, that did a lot for me internally. It did some externally, but it was a lot of internal work. That was good, but it didn't fulfill me anymore. It doesn't fulfill me anymore to have a physique. Now it's about, okay, the physique is the eye catcher, you know, so what is the vehicle? So I was struggling to kind of reinvent myself, and and then from there I was like struggling to kind of, like, even now I'm just now figuring out kind of where I can express myself creatively. Like, I'm just not figuring that out as in like this morning, kind of, you know, or just narrowing down how I can do it for myself. And so maybe we must create first as humans, and then from there we discover who we are through that process. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty, one of the beauties of life, is creating and watching that creation express itself. Maybe it expresses itself through you, or you express it. You express yourself through it. Maybe that's how we meet ourselves. Humans understand themselves by building. Purpose through expression. That's what we are. I think this video has been long enough, and so I'm going to leave you with a reflecting thought. Maybe stagnation ends the moment we choose to create again. Maybe stagnation ends the moment that we choose to create again. And that is essentially what I'm doing with this video, is just creating again, so that I don't remain in this stagnant loop, which feels so decaying inside, because it's the delaying of something that is essential to us, which is the ability for us to express as humans. So that's my reflection today. This has been Gabriel's message. I'm sorry if the camera has changed a few times. My phone storage has died this whole time videoing, every single video. So, like, it's been a doozy trying to get this video to just record, but we just finished, so it's all good. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Peace.
Keep on telling lies to my face. I know you ain't mine anyway. I put hella racks in your face. Stupid swag, I'll be okay. Stupid swag, I'll be okay. Why she wanna know about me? Kicking shit, I'm running around.